Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland. We are a group of gentlemen who have lots of stuff on shelves. With me tonight in the top right-hand corner is the mysterious man from Norwich who was the only person to send me anything for my birthday because he's a very nice man, Mr. Nick Wilson. How you doing, Treacle?
Oh, doing good, Danny. How are you on this beautiful Wednesday evening?
My blinds are closed. I have sexy lights that I can now turn on and off via my Amazon devices. I'm not going to say it because it annoys me when people say the A word. Well, it says Arsenal and or the A word. So I'm very good. What have you been up to? How's your Twitch channel going? Well, I've been watching you most of the week playing Alan Wake Remastered. How's that going?
Yeah, it's all right. It's just plodding along. I think I got, what I call hype trained a few weeks ago with like donations and stuff, which got my emotes. It's about 190 quid, so not bad.
Shit, I bet you finally made it. You're big time. So you won't be on anymore. Then you're looking at this going, why am I talking to these twats for an hour and a half when I can be on Twitch bringing in the monies?
Well, that's the only money I've ever had in 2.5 years, so that doesn't really count.
Ah, well, there you go. Also joining us tonight is the man who not only has stuff on shelves, but he has stuff stacked on stuff, which is quite impressive, Chris. Are they all DVDs? I think we've been through this. Or are they VHSs?
Yeah, mostly porn. No, there's a lot of DVDs, CDs as well. CDs there, DVDs here, and this is my work, my printing. This is just a PC specifically built for my t-shirt printing business. So yeah, it's stacked, and you may also notice a new addition behind me. That is a wardrobe that has exited the bedroom and entered the spare room. So
in the olden days, that used to be the left-hand side of the room, didn't it?
Yes.
Two houses ago.
Yeah. Yes, it did. Yeah, and now obviously not in the same house. So
that'd be quite a trek to go and get clothes out every time you needed them if it was in your house from 2 houses ago.
Absolutely.
Yes. A little word to the wires here. That unit behind me, it's an IKEA Kallax. I got that off of Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, and I got the 4x4 for 50 quid the other day. So that's now in my bedroom full of shit. So there you go. That's where you need to go. Go and get yourself a few Kallaxes. I see you got on your left-hand side beyond, you got some budget Kallaxes. Are they fake ones from Tesco's or something?
Are we talking about these?
Yes.
No, they are. Hang on. They're legit. There's the socks up there as well. No, they're B&Q. You know, no. Some of us aren't Twitch rich like Nicky, and generally rich like you, Danny. So but they do a job. And dear listener, if you do develop any Kallax, you can get some cream for that from your GP. So be sure to get that treated. John did, and he feels better than ever. So
he certainly does. Let's get something to entice all the hipsters and the cool kids in. You shared a picture of your trainers collection the other day. Quite impressive. I only have 3 pairs of trainers. Do you refer to them as trainers, or do you refer to them as something else like those Americans do?
I don't call them sneakers, if that's what you're referring to.
Scumbags.
Or what is it? American and North America call football cleats. Yeah. No, I don't go with that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just I call them trainers. They are mostly high tops and running shoes. That's my thing. I
had 2 pairs of high tops. I had a pair of kangaroos. Do you know what they were?
I remember those. They were late 90s.
Mid to late 90s or late 80s, early 90s, and they had a little pouch in the tongue where you could keep stuff.
Yes, you could put like a 3 pence or something in them, couldn't you? Yeah, I remember those.
That's all you could reach. And I had a pair of high-tech leagues.
Well, all of mine are Nike, whatever you prefer. I have a couple of Jordan 1s, which I know are quite expensive. And yeah, most of them I did work out the other day that in the last 12 to 15 months, I have spent approximately £490 on running shoes, which is a little bit worrying. But, they're an investment. So what can you say?
How are they an investment?
It is available on my Instagram, should you wish to go and have a look at my inane obsession with trainers.
Tell them your Instagram. Is it KC_run, RUNZ?
Yes. Yeah, one size fits all. It is KC_runs RUNZ on Instagram.
I know we should be getting on talking about football, but we're just
Must we?
putting off the inevitable fall into the volcano of doom that is Kris talking about Arsenal. Explain to me this, and any kidlings out there watching. Why would you spend £600 on something that you're going to drag along the fucking floor? If you spend £600 on a jaunty hat, it's okay, or some underpants,
Well, I could say the
or a
same
nice
about
watch. But don't
Could I-
spend £600 or £700, £1,000 on something that you're going to stand into the shit all over the floor.
But
Where's
they are
logic?
because they are the tools of my trade. You know, it's like me saying, why spend 500 quid on a wheelchair? Just drag your carcass along the ground.
500 quid. The one I want is £18,000.
Well, then you're a bloody
Can't
idiot,
afford.
aren't you?
Well, I can't afford it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying that they are the tools of my trade. But I will say this, and this is actually
How are you justifying tools of your trade? You don't have it. Your trade is. Well, we're not going to tell people what you do for a living, but it involves rum and sea salt.
Indeed. And rigging. No, but yeah, well, because I, on average, when fully fit, obviously I'm coming back from injury.
Of course it is.
I do run on average 5-6 times a week. So it is, kind of a regular. But I do have a genuinely serious point before we drag ourselves into the volcano of doom. There is a popular, I think I gave him a shout out once upon a time, but there's a popular YouTuber that I follow, a gentleman called Ed Budd, who's he does running shoe reviews basically. He lives in Yeovil, down in Somerset, and he did a video yesterday which really opened my eyes, and he was talking about running shoes for people with disabilities, and I thought of you. No, but I thought of you, and he was talking about people.
That's a very niche market.
Well, this is the thing, and he was talking about people with cerebral palsy and like how do they lace up running shoes. And it turns out that only Nike and very, very few other small brands are the only ones who actually make like the Flyes with the zips and stuff to allow people to get in. And he said it was genuinely appalling how small the market was for people who wanted to run and be active but couldn't get into running shoes. So, yeah, if you're listening, big brands, sort it out.
Because they are. They are listening.
I mean, they are. Of course they are. We all know all the big brands and all the big content creators all watch us. We know this. So,
Going right. That's another thing to tick off the list not to do.
So, and obviously we know the Arsenal manager watches this show. So if you're watching, cheers, Mikel. Another entertaining night.
So I have 3 pairs of trainers. I have 2 pairs of Skechers, and I have a pair of Nike Air Max.
Classics. Are you a 14-year-old girl, or when did that happen? When did that take place?
I will have you know that the advert is footballing legend Jamie Redknapp loves his kickers.
I mean, just stop there.
No,
just stop there when you said footballing legend. There you go.
Oh, look at that.
That's proper Air Max classics right there.
That's
You're rolling around in
No, I've got the original BWs, the purple ones, purple and black. Have you heard the advert with Jamie Redknapp?
Mm-hmm.
Footballing legend. Hold on. Didn't he win 1 FA Cup with Liverpool? Now that's it.
I mean, that advert is one step away from Jamie O'Hara coming out, and I don't know. I'm not going to say what I was thinking about saying there; it'll be libelous. But he's a prick, isn't he? Anyway,
didn't he score more own goals than actual goals? Didn't he? The only footballer to get that record. So that's quite good.
Yeah. What a man!
Right, so I think we're going to call this podcast the Arsenal Volcano of Doom, as usual. Very little information about what the show is about, but there is a thing on Twitter now and on SoundCloud where you can do a synopsis of the show. So far we talked Twitch trainers Jamie Redknapp. That is not going to get many Arsenal fans interested. So I think it's been 9 minutes talking nonsense. Let's get on with the main thing. We'll start off with the Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2. Nick, tell us what you thought about the game, because once Kris gets angry and spunks his load all over the screen in the show, verbally, of course, people, then you probably won't get a word in. So what did you think about this? Start off with the lineup, because it was very 4-1-4-1 kind of lineup, wasn't it? Which was a bit confusing.
Yeah, I mean, other than the back four and the goalkeeper, I don't really know what Arteta's thinking or doing, but I mean, I think plus I got the whole thing wrong, because on the last pod I had to predict what games we were going to do till Christmas. And I think I said win everything, so I don't think I've won that already. So I'm down already. But yeah, I mean, the lineup. What could he do much different? I mean, other than trying to get Laka back into the lineup and play Aubameyang with Laka, and obviously Xhaka's out, so we can't pick him. So I think that's pretty much what everyone would pick. I mean, Kris will probably say, I can't. Would you have picked anything different, Kris, for the starting lineup?
No, no, I wouldn't have, mate. No, to me, it's not the lineup. It's the tactics and all that goes with them. Maybe, I mean, there might be a debate to talk about the change of the lineup maybe ahead of the next game. We'll come on to that. But no, to answer your question, I probably wouldn't have picked anybody different. Maybe in hindsight, a more defensive-minded midfielder in the midfield rather than an attacking number 10. But that swings and roundabouts, isn't it? But other than that, no, I didn't see any issue with the lineup myself.
Yeah, I mean, that was good. I mean, to go over the game quickly, we were good for the first 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes. But the how many minutes? 70 minutes in between, we were crap.
20 minutes doth not make a game.
Well,
another pod title. Fucking hell, that's two.
But I mean, that's another one where we started off quite well. We scored, and then we went back to our usual sit back and try and do nothing until the other team score again, which Arteta's getting a bit known for.
Well, didn't we do that from the kickoff? Aubameyang went, "Hey, you, look over there." And as these bloke were meant to be marking him, look the other way. He sprinted down at the end of the pitch, and I thought, that's clever. I like to see that. And then it was get the ball to the midfielder, to the right back, to the centre back, to the central midfielder, to the left back, to the centre back, to the central midfield. And I thought, hold on, he's doing this shit immediately. How about use a bit of the pace and the creativity and have what, first of all, say to Odegaard, Smith Rowe's playing, one of you two is going to have to come and sit next to Partey just most of the game, because otherwise it's like having 4 tubes of toothpaste and you're squeezing them and they're going into one little tube and then that's spurting it all out to 4 more tubes. That's his tactics. It's 4 into 1 and 1 out to 4. Wasn't working, was it, Kris? But the immediate defensive football of passing back. Is he trying to... I know Saliba in France at the moment regularly gets 100 touches a game. Is Arteta trying to get White and Gabriel stat padding by both 100% pass success rate and 200 touches per game with these tactics? Because I can't see the point of it. Can you?
I mean, I genuinely don't see the point of a lot of it at the moment. It's just like, it's 2 steps forward, 14 back, isn't it? It's just...
Shouldn't that be 2 passes forward and 14 back?
Yeah, that's also... I like to call it the great Arsenal horseshoe of woe. And that's what I like to call it, because it is just a horseshoe of mindless... I don't know. The thing that is frustrating me at the moment is, I keep hearing these people talk about the process and we have to give him time and, he's building something. It's been basically 2 years, and the one thing that you always associate with good quality managers is a unique style, isn't it? I mean, if it's Guardiola, it's pass the opposition to boredom. If it's Klopp, it's high press. If it's Solskjaer, it's they're every sort of good manager. So maybe I'll just remove Solskjaer from that collection. But every kind of good and successful manager has had a style, and you've always been able to identify what somebody's looking to do. To me, the thing that I kind of worry about with Mikel is it just feels like he's got one plan only, and when that plan fails, there's just nothing there. There's nothing else that he can change. His in-game tactical approach, that when he first came in, it seemed to be very, very, very clear, and the whole, when we had the multiple substitutions during COVID, he seemed to be able to affect games. That's just gone. He's got the pit crew on the bench, as the Tuesday Club refer to him, 400 staff. I don't know what half of them do. I like Nicky said, the lineup I got, I looked at it and I went, on paper, that's quite good. It's attacking. What that says to me is, hi Palace, you're coming to the Emirates tonight. We've got attacking players. We're going to take the game to you. And we did. And I would slightly disagree with Nick and say, first 10 minutes, last 10 minutes. I would argue first 6 minutes, last 3 minutes. That would be all I'd give them, because in between, there was just nothing. And that sense of growing, that sense of growing dread. You know, when you watch, here's an analogy for you. So last night I went to watch Halloween Kills, right, at the cinema.
Oh,
Solid
you poor
7.
thing.
Yeah, solid 7 out of 10. You know, it is what it is. But you know that sort of scene in those kind of movies where somebody's walking down an alleyway or going up a flight of stairs, and you know that the boogeyman is coming up behind, and there's that impending dread of that, you know, the Michael Myers jumping out of the shadows and knifing someone to death. Well, Arsenal scoring the goal first, they are the hero of the film, and then the opposition are the Michael Myers, because you just know that we are going to sink deeper and deeper into our shells to inevitably be stabbed when we least expect it, but we should have seen it coming. If we hadn't have run down that dark alleyway, or we hadn't have gone up that flight of stairs, then we wouldn't have been boxed into a position where we have nothing left to do but submit to our inevitable doom, and in our case, concede a goal. And I know that's kind of a bit of a deep analogy to go in by, but that's how
Mark
it feels.
Kermode would have been proud of that.
Well, I like to think so. And shout out to Mark if you're listening. I'm sure you are. But, you know, it just felt to me like it's a growing sense of inevitability that the minute we went in front, I don't know about you, and I'll throw this back to Nikki so I don't ramble on forever. But to me, a big club, a proper club, a club that's fighting for top honours or top 4 or looking to make a statement, goes 1-0 up through Aubameyang and then pushes and crushes the opposition. Gets 2-3 goals and says, right, we've done our business now. What have you got? That's what a big club does. That's what an ambitious club does. And that's what an attacking, experienced, not carefree, that's the wrong word, but it's what a good quality manager who trusts his players and backs his players to express themselves does. And I don't think that's the case. For me, it was very obvious. Get 1-0 up, you know, play with a bit of intensity for sort of 5 minutes, see if you can get another one, and then sit behind the ball, wait for the opposition to come at you and counter-attack. And it was so predictable. Do you see that the same way, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to answer this because, you know, for years, Arsenal would go 1-0 up, and then all of a few times, you know, good when we were fairly good, and we'd go mental to try and get the second goal and end up falling over and conceding. So, you know, I mean, there's a fine line between, you know, not going mad trying to get the second goal and concede, but then letting them just have the ball completely. You know, I mean, because when we've had this before, I mean, maybe because you've managed even, you know, the low level you were at. How do you get the balance right with that? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I agree with you. Like, I'm not saying put 7 forwards on the pitch and just go gung ho, because at this level you're going to get picked off. Of course, I'm not saying that, but you just there's games. Bayern Munich are some of the best teams in Europe at this. I think they beat Bayer Leverkusen at the weekend. I think they won 5-1. They were 5-0 up at half time. And that's against the Leverkusen side have been very good this season. Now, I know there'll be it's not the same level and, you know, where Leverkusen good and blah, 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 different leagues. But it's that killer mentality. And you don't, if you attack a team and you score a goal, surely, to me, and again, speaking from my level, as you said, like at the lowest level possible, if you score a goal, say you're playing the Sunday League game and you score a goal from a corner, right? And the goalkeeper comes for it, flaps at it, and your overweight return striker at the back post knocks it in, right? The first thought in your head as a team and as a manager is you identify the weakness. They've got a weakness at set pieces, the goalkeeper's dodgy, and our big striker is going to get in ahead of most of the defenders because he's a big lump. So, okay, that's one avenue to go down. So if you get a set piece, you know what you're going to do. But for the next few minutes, surely then you exploit other weaknesses, don't you? So you know the goalkeeper's dodgy from corners, so get some shots away, test him. You know that the defender at the back stick is a bit short, so swing some crosses in, test him. So bringing that back to the Palace game, you know, we score from a shot where Pepe cuts in from the right-hand side, curls a shot goalwards. The goalkeeper makes a fairly decent save, but parries it into a fairly open area, and Aubameyang sharpens attack and on. So why are you not, for the next 3 to 4 minutes, Why are you not getting that ball down the wing to either Pepe or the opposite side winger, Saka, whomever it may be, and getting at those fullbacks and whipping in those shots and testing the goalkeeper again, testing the reaction speed of those defenders? Are they on the back foot? Have we caught them cold? You score early. If we go on and get a second goal, I'm not, Patrick Vieira had a very good setup last night. Palace did play pretty well, but I wouldn't say they particularly threatened us. They just exploited the ball and they took the chances they created. If we get 2-0 up, they don't have those chances, because if we're 2-0 up, they really have to take risks. And then to your point, they have to open up their attack. They have to flood players forward. At 1-0, they could afford to do what they did. Sit deep, protect themselves, keep themselves in the game at 1-0, even up to half time, and then start to release gradually one extra player, two extra players. They take their two chances, they're in front, and we're toiling. Why are we not doing that? I'm not saying chuck 8 players forward. I'm just saying you go 1-0 up, exploit those weaknesses, and maybe throw one extra player into the attack. The minute we scored last night, other than maybe 2 to 3 minutes where the crowd were up and everybody was excited and we thought we'd won the league, at least just risk a couple of players. And I tweeted it at the time, and I stand by it. This club's mentality, or in specifically this manager's mentality, is we'll score once, we'll over celebrate, we'll give it the big look at us, we're Arsenal, we're fantastic, then we'll switch off for 10 minutes and inevitably concede 2 crappy goals. It's so obvious. And let's not forget, we got lucky to get out of Brighton with nothing, with a point, with no goals. We could easily be sat on here off the back of 2 defeats. And all of this after we won, 3 games in a row, and everybody said we were going to be, everything was solved. It's not solved, is it?
No.
And this is Palace.
That's what getting what it said. I understand, like, if we score a goal and we're playing Barcelona in the Champions League or Bayern Munich,
Absolutely.
and that's like, you could, say, right, just get back, get into position, hold it for 5 minutes, and we'll see where we are. And no disrespect to Crystal Palace, they're a side we should be beating, even in our weakened whatever state Arsenal are in at the moment. So why are we doing that against a Crystal Palace side that we probably should beat, also without their best player in Zaha at the time? And do you see what I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
go on.
No, I was just going to say, just to Nicky's point, he's spot on. I actually think, and this is not a slight unity because I agree with you, I think the olden days, Arsenal should be expected to beat Palace. I think the realism now is that we are on the level of Palace, of Villa, of Everton, of Leeds. Of like we're not a club that has any divine right to expect.
We're definitely closer to them than we were previously.
Oh my, yeah.
I'm not. When I joked at the first podcast we did back that we were going to win the league, I obviously wasn't serious. Obviously, I'm not saying we should. I don't want to sound disrespectful to the lower clubs, because they are actually a lot better than they used to be. I mean, I remember years ago, in the 90s, early 2000s, you'd look down at all the other teams that are not Man United and Liverpool, and you could probably pick maybe one player out of every side. You think, he wouldn't be a bad player to get. So you'd have, like a Takehiro at West Ham. You thought, cool, I'd fancy a bit of Takehiro. No one else at West Ham, probably. And you'd maybe get, was it Juninho at Middlesbrough?
Yeah,
players like that. And there's like one player at every club that they'd have a decent player. But whereas now we're looking at players and buying players from Brighton and things like that, and you're thinking, God, we could do with 2 or 3 of these players from this club, things like that. So
whereas Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool are not buying players from those teams.
Well, Liverpool did buy some players from Southampton early on, didn't they?
That's about 6 years ago.
Yeah, but they haven't recently, have they?
No. They're not buying anybody recently.
We can definitely touch upon the squad a bit later, because that's definitely a rant that I will go on. But no, I agree. I do agree. We're at a level now where we've got no divine right to beat anyone right now, because we're not very good, and we haven't been very good for basically the entire time Miguel's been in charge. Harsh but true. We won an FA Cup when we weren't very good. It's just
he can
facts.
do it though. He can do what we want. You see,
Yeah, but can he?
I saw a brilliant tweet. I saw a brilliant tweet last night. He said the last 10 minutes of the game were like watching Spurs under Osei-Tutu, where he had 5 or 6 strikers. So
Yeah,
he can go all out attacking football when he needs to. But if he'd have done more attacking in the first half, like you were saying, Kris, and put the game away and scored 3 goals, which they're probably really capable of doing, because like Nick said, Zaha wasn't playing.
That's not a tactical plan, though, is it?
No, that's a Hail Mary.
That's a weird. Jesus Christ, shit the bed. We're 2-1 down to Crystal Palace. What the hell do we do? I know. Let's chuck on all the strikers we've got and lump it long. That's not tactics. That's Hail Mary. And I know a lot of people went a bit like, oh, Arsenal celebrate the draw like it's a win. I think it was Femi, or maybe it was Carl hit the nail on the head. They said, of course we celebrated because the last minute winner. That's what you go to football for, or a last minute equaliser, whatever. You're going to celebrate in the moment, but it's the 2 or 3 minutes after you've left the ground and you go, hang on a minute, guys, hang on a minute. We just, we're accepting mediocrity now. We're accepting, we just got a point out of Palace. And I'm not saying we didn't do the same under Arsene before, because I'm sure we did. We probably scraped a last minute draw away at, I don't know, Bolton or somewhere crap. But the difference was, you knew that those points that you got on the board to get in those where we played like utter toilet, and we got out of jail with a late equaliser against a lower team. But you knew next week you'd get a better performance. You knew that by next week the team would learn from that and grow from it. This team, in fact, that's harsh. Not this team. This setup, this style, this approach. It just there's. I don't know what the plan is anymore. I don't, and I almost feel like that this squad now, come Friday, which I know we'll come on to, you could quite easily see a formation change in this game, and that to me smacks of a manager who doesn't really still now 2 years later know either his best team, his best formation, or his best tactical approach, and that genuinely blows my mind.
I think if you remember, Kris, I mean, to be honest, I've blocked out most of last season, but what was it in the Europa League where that was like 20 minutes to go, we're going out, we need to score, and that's that word you said, Hail Mary. Everyone knows that's the only play you got, more strikers on, and just launch it. And if I remember, he didn't even make the subs to do that. So, when there's nothing left in your arsenal, that's good. Other than to play that way, what was he going to do starting from minute 1? When that's so obvious, that's what he's got to do. I mean, Man United won a Champions League with a Hail Mary in the last 5 minutes, didn't they? Because he had, Ferguson had nothing left to do apart from play 4 strikers and launch it into the box, and they scored 2 goals. Where I was going to say, from minute 1, do we actually know what he's trying to do?
Nope, I don't. I genuinely
but just
don't.
The fact that in our last 6 games undefeated with 4 clean sheets, doesn't that show there's progress?
Yeah, but there's progress in the defence, because that I don't think anyone has ever questioned Mikel's ability to get a team to be sort of hard to beat, structured at the back. I don't think that's ever been too much of an issue for him. But it's almost like at the minute we go past the halfway line, everybody looks at each other as if to say, well, I don't know. Do you know? Well, I don't know. Well, do we pass here? Do we? And then we just come back to the Arsenal horseshoe of woe again. It's mind-blowing to me. Gabriel Martinelli came on last night. I think he ran down the left-hand side. He took on a couple of players, got to the byline, then looked around as if to say, well, what do I do now? Where is everybody? And we're all stood there going, oh, there goes Gabriel. That's nice. And that to me is that's not the players. I stand by this. They're being coached too much. There's too, and when I say coached, I mean coached in the wrong thought process. They're so almost afraid to express themselves. We bought Odegaard as a creative player, and he's gone backwards because he's having to play a role that it doesn't suit his style of play. Smith Rowe is an immense talent. Saka is an immense talent. Both of them could probably do with the rest. but they're not getting a rest because we have no other options to play in the positions they've got. And the only options we do have, we then bring them into the team and play them in the wrong positions or in the wrong setup. It's just when basically probably your man of the match is a substitute who comes on for 15 to 20 minutes and scores you a last-minute equaliser. That's got to be worrying, isn't it, for the rest of the players? He showed more hunger, like I said, more hunger and more desire in that final 10, 15 minutes than half the others have done for 75. And that to me is a player trying to make a point to say, I want to play. I want to make a difference in this team. And he's barely got a look in this season. So I don't think it's an issue, the players' motivation. I just feel like they don't have that freedom of expression.
Do you think they're being overcoached, basically forced to hold position? Because I remember it was a Wenger thing early on where he said, I like to let players express themselves and move. Not saying everyone could go wherever they want, because, you'd have Mad Jens Lehmann going up front. But, but I mean, we used to see Perez and Lundberg swapping wings whenever they fancied. And, Henry would drift out left and things like that, so they weren't forced into staying into this, like you said, this weird horseshoe thing where no one's allowed to go ahead of this whatever formation we've got. But I don't know. To bring it more back onto football, so we talk about some of like the Palace game, because you said
That's
about
what I was
Saka.
going to say. I was going to ask you, Nick.
We were talking about Saka might get a rest. I mean, he might if he's been standing a bit differently, he might have got a long rest on that tackle. What do you think about that tackle, Danny? In the first half.
Horrendous. I've been watching football since the 80s. I have never, ever seen someone go up to someone and deliberately kick them. I mean, first of all, he should have been booked for that who did he bring down? Was it Smith Rowe that he brought down, or was it Saka? Is someone playing wide?
I think he hit Smith Rowe, but he also flicked Aubameyang before that as well, and they didn't stop the game for it. No, but which I say, cheers, Mike Dean, was pretty much identical to what Saka did, which he got straight into the yellow card for. It's just, I don't like having a go at referees, even though I hate them all and think they're all on the take. But I haven't got, we talk about consistency with the referees. I don't want consistency from one referee to another referee because people are different. But when you've got the same referee on the pitch, not doing the same decision for something else, for 10 minutes later, I don't agree with that. And we know Mike Dean's a bit of a twat, and it's all about him. But I mean, that tackle, and it's just like they were saying,
it wasn't a tackle; it was an assault.
Well, yeah, because the ball. I mean, I was watching it in slow motion. He blew for a foul for a handball by the Palace bloke, which it was. Everyone seemed to stop. And then he just decided, woohoo, free hit, and just booted him in the back of the leg. And I'm like I said, that's assault. And a few people have said, because Aubameyang got a yellow card a few years ago, which I think was against Palace as well, which everyone went, yep, yellow card. And then for some reason, VAR decided to get involved and say, hang on, have a look at this for 5 minutes. Now we're going to send Aubameyang off. And you think, well, you look at this and the refs are hiding their mouths when they're talking so we can't see what they're saying and things like that. And you think, well, why are VAR not getting involved with stuff like that? And why, I said it before, why are the referees not mic'd up so they can explain what they're doing? It's very simple. I was speaking to my mate who started playing like weekend football and stuff like that. And I said to him, when the because he said he got booked, I said, well, did the referee actually say, I'm booking you because of this rule? Or has he actually told you why he's booked you? And he said, no. He just says yellow card, number 4, and walks off. And you think, oh, well, if it's like that at that level, you wouldn't expect that to be like that, at the top of English football, would you?
No.
Have you seen anything like that kind of tackle, Kris? Because it wasn't a tackle, was it?
It's not a tackle. You called it right. It's an assault, isn't it? It's just. I think it's important to say at this stage, this is not sour grapes. This is not any excuse. But I think it is remiss to point out that if he gets sent off, it's a different game because Palace have one less player. one less player to attack with. They have to change their formation. They have to change their tactics. And he's a key element of their destroying element of the midfield, if you pardon the expression, given the tackle or the challenge. I mean, it brings out all those people that chuck the line out. If that was Xhaka, then because there was a lot of people saying it, and they are right, and it's the sort of thing Xhaka would do, by the way. But it's just, I mean, the thing is, yeah, we all know Mike Dean's a bit of a prat, but my biggest issue is how's that not referred? I guess that's my issue, and I suppose the argument to that would be, well, the referee made the call, therefore it can't be reviewed. I think that's the law, isn't it? If the referee makes the call, they can only overrule the referee if it's a penalty decision or something along those lines.
Well, no, because they overruled Aubameyang's, didn't they? Which was on the halfway line where he got a yellow card.
Okay, yeah.
VAR interruled and gave him a red. But that's what I'm saying. We don't. That's just all sports. We're watching rugby. You can hear what the refs are saying. You see what they're saying in their little VAR studio. And whether you like or 100% agree with what they're saying, at least you know how they come to the conclusion of what they're doing. Whereas at the moment, what do you know? I don't know why it didn't get reviewed. I mean, how do we know he didn't say on his microphone, nah, fuck him. He missed a penalty in the Euros. You don't know, do you?
The only thing I can think that was in Mike Dean's mind is that Saka had a nibble at MacArthur previously, didn't he? So that's what he got the yellow card for. It's the same player. The only thing I can think is that Mike Dean looked at it and went, well, this is just the classic. One guy's tripped the other guy's getting back at him. That's the only thing I can think. It doesn't excuse the attempted tackle challenge, whatever you want to call it. And I totally agreed with what Arsblog said, that he's lucky that he kicks him in the soft part of the back of the leg. Because if he kicks him around the shin, if he kicks him in the front of the ankle, if he kicks him around the joint of the foot, I mean, that's Aaron Ramsey all over again. His leg's in three different pieces. And that, because it's the very definition of violent conduct, isn't it? It's the very definition. It's not like there was a ball dropping out the sky and he'd gone for a volley. He clearly just goes for the player. There's just no debate in my mind. He knows what he's doing. It's a moment of madness, and he should have walked. But that's that. There is nothing else to say, is there? It's a bad decision.
He'd already done it before in the build-up to one of our runs. Saka had gone past him, and he'd gone to take a swing at Saka the first time. And then if Saka wouldn't have been there for when he did hit him, where did he think that ball was going to go? He wasn't having a shot on goal, was he? The ball was coming down vertically towards him. Yeah. And what was he going to do? Have a shot from nowhere from that? He wasn't even... The ball would have gone about 2 foot to the right of where he was kicking to. And so he did it to Smith Rowe on the right-hand side. Then he kicked Saka as he was running off. And he's kicked Aubameyang. And then he's kicked Saka in the back of the leg. You never would have seen an injury like that in football, where the break in someone's leg would have been broken from the pushing forwards towards the direction where the feet are going. Normally, it goes in the other way. And if that had been, was it Saka's standing leg? I can't remember.
Yeah. Yes. It's his
unbelievable.
He kicked him with such force that lifted him off
his feet,
which is in theory, which was a good thing, because if he'd, like Kris said, if he'd have kicked down onto his leg, that would have snapped his leg in half. But that's what got me though. The ref had already blown the whistle, and all the players had stopped near enough, and Saka sort of pulled out, going for the ball, and then he's just literally upended him,
and then the wanker that stands there and looks at Saka laying on the floor with his arms open, going.
That's the bit that got me. That's why I tweeted. I said, imagine sort of doing, and he did that thing, didn't he? You could lip read. Imagine being that thick. I'm not saying that he should immediately fall to his knees and go, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but just take the yellow card and sod off, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's just
what we needed on the pitch that day was Patrick Vieira, because he'd have gone up to him later in that game, and that bloke would now be breathing through a tube.
Well,
which is what we don't. We have none of that at Arsenal. Well, we do, but he's suspended. And whenever he does anything, he tries to go after people, do the slightest little thing, red card. And this prick has done 4 yellow card fouls. If you look at those as individual actions, if you had some way of blanking out the player's face and the kits, just making them monochrome or something, and then you put it to a panel of 10 referees and went, right, those 4 incidents, so you couldn't tell the people and you couldn't tell the games. All 3 of those would have been a yellow card and one of them would have been a red card. And he just gets away with it.
They'll probably Photoshop it into that one that's been going around for a couple of years with where David Luiz got sent off, where you got all those like fouls where people's feet are going through knees and shins, and then the bloke kicking the bottom of Luiz's foot and getting a red. That's just, I don't know. It's not nice to keep moaning about referees, but
it was so bloody blatant. And then the moment we do anything, Saka touches someone, yellow card, and then Aubameyang comes up to the referee and goes, What are you doing? And I think it was Partey was pointing over there going, Did you not just see what he did on the other side? And when he took him down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Aubameyang's laying on the floor.
That's what I'm saying. He did the exact same thing what Saka done and got a he got a yellow card for.
I mean, Saka's wasn't even as bad.
Well, yeah, but at least the ball was in front. He flicked Aubameyang and Smith Rowe off the ball.
Yeah.
And this one might as well have been off the ball because I don't know what he was hit. I don't know what ball he was aiming for. But
there again, wasn't it the way in the old days? It used to go out there in the late Wenger days, go out there and kick them, and they don't like it up them.
But ironically, it's probably Patrick Vieira that would have given the instructions to James McArthur to put it, because Vieira probably would have looked at us and said, "Yeah, win, this isn't the Arsenal."
What does he need to do to Arsenal to win?
And he would have known. Yeah, exactly.
And Palace, he should feel hard done by because we didn't deserve a point out of that game.
Yeah, but that said, and I've heard that said quite a bit. The only thing I would say to that is, don't get me wrong, Palace were very good. They were very well organised. In Conor Gallagher, they've got a really good midfielder. He's on loan from Chelsea, isn't he? Edson Odward is a striker that we should have gone in for. I said it then, and I'll keep saying it. I'm not saying he'd have got us 40 a season, but he would have got us what I'd call the Wiltord haul. He'd have got us 10 or 11 a season. It's not, to me, we gave Crystal Palace a point. I wouldn't say when I say they didn't earn it, I'm not criticising them. They came with a game plan, they took their chances, they were very well organised, etc. But I wouldn't say that they came and deserved to, they blew us off the park, creating chance after chance.
Both for their goals, errors by us as well. I think that's what you mean, isn't it? So, and other than that, I mean, I was talking to John on Twitter earlier today, or yesterday, and so on. It's like, other than that, they just had a few shots from 30 yards out into Rowe's head. That's not like they absolutely peppered us, and that could have been 4 or 5 against us. But
no, I agree. I
probably couldn't believe that they were 2-1 up at one point because they didn't come there to win the game. Benteke couldn't score in a brothel unless he plays against Arsenal, and then he scores. He's a terrible, terrible forward. He's not a striker. He's just a bloke who plays up front.
He's another terrible Andy player. Carroll, isn't he? Only for some reason only turns up 2 games a year.
Andy Carroll had a bit of skill and nice hair.
Well, I mean, the hair's questionable, but yeah.
Is he Man United are losing 2-0 at home?
Oh, are they? Splendid news. I was checking the scores, but then I got embroiled in the Arsenal horseshoe.
Well, we want Ollie still there when we play them. We don't want him gone before we get
there. Again, you can't expect Man United to win when you've got unknown players like Fernandes, Ronaldo, Rashford and Greenwood playing up front. I mean, they're lucky. I've never heard of any of them.
Well, I mean, more importantly, Unai Emery's Villarreal are 2-0 up away at Young Boys. So, that's...
According to who scored, Atlanta got the assist in the 28th minute and the goal in the 29th minute. That was either a very, very long and slow pass.
It's a really long attack.
Oh, they've got something wrong. Good win for Leicester. They won 4-3 at Spartak. And that bloke for them got 4 goals. Never heard of him.
Who is it?
Patson Daka.
Oh, Patson Daka. Yeah, he's the lad from Salzburg that they got in the pre-season. Yeah, very, very talented, to be fair. He's Zambian, I believe. First Zambian to score in the Premier League, I think I'm right in saying. Yeah. No, well done to them. More clubs with far more positives than Arsenal right now, so that's good.
Right, Chris, you want to talk a bit about Lacazette scoring? Because we know he's your boy, Lacazette.
Is he going as well? Cover that. Is he going to? Because it looks like there's no contract going to be renewed, and then 1st of January he's back off to France. I'd have thought.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be well within his rights to start looking at his options because he's got a career to think about, and if he's not being played, then I wouldn't blame the guy for looking around. I mean, I said it last summer, and I say it now. I would have offered him a 1-year deal. I get why people wouldn't have gone further than a year. I understand that. He is getting older. The one I love the most is when people say he's overweight. I mean, if that's overweight, I'd love to be that shape, to be fair. So it does make me laugh. It's like if you're stocky, you're just fat. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, as I said earlier on, I don't want to go over my old words, but he showed a desire and a fight. He's very passionate about the club he plays for. It was what he got his reputation at Lyon for, being a fighter, a winner, a grafter. You know, you look at the work rate the guy goes through. He's a centre forward. Goal scoring is his business, and yet while he's been at Arsenal, he's done so much of the donkey work. He's carried so many periods of this club where we've just needed a striker to come in and do a job. I think it's fair to say, you know, if you look back over his career, he probably hasn't hit the heights that we would have hoped he would have hit, given his goal scoring prowess at Lyon. But as I will also keep saying, we never bought the fakir to feed him. You know, we had Mezzo, and obviously that we know where that went, and he's never had the filter to feed him the chances that he thrives on, which is a player getting to the byline, cutting it back, or a player in the number 10 role and feeding him. Erdegaard is good enough to do it, but obviously Xhaka's got to play first. I think Smith Rowe is probably technically good enough to do it as well, but we haven't seen him in the same side. And I genuinely, I know we'll come on to Villa in a bit, I would be very keen to see him in that starting lineup because he's earned it every time he's come on this season.
Does that mean Aubameyang on the left of him up front, or
Aubameyang
not working on the left?
I mean, I wouldn't be against the idea of playing a 2. I said that a few weeks ago. I don't see any reason why we couldn't play a 4-1-2-1-2. I mean, why not? Because let's be honest, you know, when we play wingers, we don't use them. So what's the fucking point? Do you know what I mean? And this is another Arteta gripe I've got. He's got a couple of very talented wide players, and he just refuses to let them play as wide players. He doesn't encourage those wide players to cut in. Imagine us having a Mark Overmars in the team now. He'd probably play left wing back. You know, because all of our width comes from our fullbacks. Tomiyasu is, I'm going to stand by this. He's a very good centre back with the ability to play right back.
He's had a shocking last few games.
Well, he's just, to me, he's not a right back because he's too much of a unit to play in that position. He's just in the modern day, fullbacks are, you know, stocky and quick, slimline and quick, or technically good with an attacking mindset. That's the modern day fullback. Tomiyasu is a very good defender, but that's what he is.
Arteta's brought him in to do his tactic job, hasn't he? He wants someone that when Tierney runs down the left, he shuffles across, they make a back 3, and then when he runs down the right, then Tierney plays in the back 3 like he does for Scotland.
Yep.
And so I don't know if we can complain about the fact that he's not very good, seemingly, of running down, being a right wing back, but when our defensive unit up until the Palace game, but that was 2 errors from our central midfielders. But up until the Palace game, that system of the back 5 is working brilliantly. It's that has been the thing that for me has saved our season from that run of getting smashed 3 games in a row. And you can't, like Tierney missed that chance. He spanked it. He hit that ball like Saka was standing in front of him. That's how hard he hit that ball. And with their player not getting sent off, and with Partey making an error, and then Sambi making an error, which apparently there's people on Twitter saying they want Sambi now sold.
I mean, that's not his fault, is it? He's clearly not ready for, he's not ready to be starting games. And although I don't actually get on board the Ainsley Maitland-Niles hype train as much as some, he's got the experience in a game like that to come
would have been good.
Well, yeah, or even bring him on as a central midfielder. I mean, he's got the experience of Premier League football. He's just by definition got more experience than Sambi has. In a game where you're looking to hold the lead, surely you turn to experience, not youthful excitement, if you will. So I don't know. And as I say, it's not to criticise Sam, because since he's come in, he's been very, he's been a breath of fresh air. He's a hard worker. He's a lad who's clearly got a lot of upsides. But he was also playing in Belgium last year. It's a big step up for a lad of that age to take on that amount of responsibility. And then that just comes back to, again, I can't remember who tweeted me this, so I apologise, but somebody was saying, we spent 50 million quid on a defender we probably didn't need, when we could have spent that on the defensive midfielder that we've needed for about 14 years. So you reap what you sow, don't you?
So,
and we're not going to get Xhaka back until January. Not that's.
And then he'll get sent off straight away for a dodger. Where do we go though from Nick? Where do we go from here? Because for me, the back five works. Last night was just unlucky. Shit refereeing, 2 central midfield mistakes. He said Madsen then. Ramsdale has been fantastic in goal, palming things away, shouting and screaming at his players. Like when that first goal went in, he was shouting at the defenders, which is brilliant. And then since we have many of the pieces to make the Arsenal jigsaw work, but it's not working. So do you see a problem with the defence, or do you think the problem is going to be maybe Arteta's attitude to going all one, like our Emery was, scared to lose or scared to concede goals?
Well, I mean, the only thing I'm a bit worried about is because what Arteta's been doing over the last 2 or 3 years, he gets a somewhat solid defence for 5 or 6 games in a row, and then for some reason he just completely changes it. So I think last year, what was it? We started with Holding and Gabriel, and it was like a really good partnership. Then all of a sudden, for no reason at all, David Luiz turned back up again, and you think, well, all right, that was one game in the Europa League to give him some minutes. Fair enough. We get into the Premiership the weekend, back come Holden, and then nope, he's changed it again. And then all of a sudden, what did we play? About 17 different right backs last season? And now we've bought a right back that's not actually a right back, according to Kris. That's just, I don't know if we'd all say that back four and the goalkeeper should play every game from now till the end of the season if they're not injured or in the red zone or whatever it is. If we can rest them, if we get like a fourth, a really easy FA Cup, draw or whatever in January, the first 2 games, rest them for that. I get that. But that back five should be set in stone. It's, the midfield and onwards that needs to be played with. And I'm just worried he'll start.
Do you say midfield and omelettes?
Midfield and onwards.
Okay, got it. I thought, actually, I could do with an omelette. Although I have a phobia of cracking eggs, but we won't go into that.
Oh, God, we've reached that point in the podcast, listeners. We'll see you all next week.
But his 100th game is going to be Watford. At the moment, by that game, because our upcoming fixtures, if we have a quick look at that, we've got Villa at home in the league. We're not going to win that.
Oh, don't remind me.
Kris is going to be there, people. So if you want to go and stalk him, he's going to be there with Jace and Simon and Chimp, and they're going to. I think Femi and Carl might be meeting up as well with them. So then they're not. The game after that is Leeds in the League Cup. Now I don't know what the hell is going on with Bielsa and Leeds, but they need to concentrate on the league. So I reckon we'll win that game. We're away to Leicester in the Premier League. Good luck with that. We're not winning that. At home to Watford. Well, I think Watford will have got through about another 3 managers by then. So I'd say we're going to beat Watford and we're going to beat Leeds. So that means Mikel Arteta's record is going to be played 100 games and he's won 52. Kris, with a win ratio of 52%. Is that not good enough?
You're asking the complete wrong person, because I cannot stand arguments that are won or lost by stats.
No.
That's just personal opinion, and I know people are going to say, "Oh yeah, but the stats are the facts." I don't.
52% win ratio. That's not bad.
No, it's not. It's not bad, but it's also not good, is it? Let's be honest. What we're saying then, over the course of a 38 game, if you base that, if you want to talk stats, you base that over a 38 game season. All right. If I said to you, Danny, back in the good old days of the 94-95 season, or the early 2000s, how many defeats could you take in a Premier League season to win a league title? 4,
6 or 7,
6. I would say no more than 6. The Ferguson-Wenger era, for example, or the Ferguson.
Then it'd be 2 or 3.
Exactly, but even in the modern day, so you say 6, right? So you're saying to me that Arteta's win percentage is 52%, right?
As long
So
as he draws all the
realistically-
others, we're champions.
Yeah, but are we?
Oh, we're losing all the others.
This is exactly it. And you
That's what I'm
say
saying.
38 game season. What is that? So what's half of 38? 19? No, it's not, is it? Yeah, it is. You're right. Sorry. 19. So say you win even 15 of those, but you lose 12. Do you know what I mean? Like stats, schmats. It's just give me the eye test. I wouldn't, and I'm sure you'd be with me on this, Danny, and you might be the same, Nick. If we're entertaining and you can see a clear plan of what we're trying to do, and we go out and play Palace and we lose 4-3, or we lose 2-1 because we took the lead and we battered them, we didn't take our chances and they got 2 lucky goals. You walk away going, okay, we're all pissed off, we're probably still moaning, but you can see a plan. You can see what they're trying to do. You've been, are you not entertained? But when you are churning out the sort of crap we've churned out, and we have been crap for a number of years now, what's the point in all this stability if it's actually going nowhere? And there's nothing that, I hate to be harsh, but I'm going to be, that I have not seen anything, genuinely anything, in Arteta's portfolio that suggests to me that we've got any sort of a clue where we're going. It's just fudge it, see what happens. And again, let's not forget, and I did tweet this the other night, and it actually got more positive responses than I expected. I'm not going to lie. This is his squad now. These are his players.
Can't argue with that.
This is his club. Our club has basically been Guardiola'd. Everything is built around Mikel now. From the
player, before someone says, well, he didn't sign Lacazette and Aubameyang, he's had time to get rid of them if he wanted to. He gave them a new contract that makes him his players.
Absolutely. This is the
I
same.
think other than Lacazette, I think he's either signed all the players or extended everyone.
That's a very good
point.
Right,
something like that. So he's decided that is my player.
Exactly that. And this is the same manager who extended Bellerin, and we've not seen him since the start of the season. What was the point?
And no loan. While banging in a goal or two a game.
Yeah.
In the under 23. So, Nick, where do we go from here? Personally, I'm happy just to keep it the way it is. I don't want to go through the trauma of another manager coming in, and then, first of all, we're not going to get the Brighton manager, which a lot of people want. And then, even if we do get a manager of that level, it's going to take them a few years to a couple of seasons to get the players they want, get the balance they want, get everyone used to it. Or if we go for a high-end manager like a Conte who wouldn't come here even if you paid his taxi fare, who's going to come in and go, right, first thing I want is 250 million, and then I want all these players' contracts cancelled unless they piss off. So I'm just happy to go, well, I can see there's roots of stuff that's happening. Hopefully, by 100 games, Arteta should know now that you need to go out there, and if with the players we've got, you should go out there and bunch of 2 or 3-0 up, then go full Arteta. But I'm just happy to keep it the way it is. They've beaten me into submission. Nick, what's the future for Arsenal that you think that we need?
Well, I can't think of a manager that would come to Arsenal and go in with this process, what we're trying to do, which is it's obvious what we're doing now. We've got the youngest squad in the Premiership. We've bought a lot of decent young players, and we're going to have to hopefully wait for them to mature, gel, get better as footballers over the next 2 to 3 seasons maybe. And then if that is going really well and they're playing well and we've sort of managed to get into the top 4, then buy a couple of superstars to just top it off, exactly the same as what Liverpool did, bought players from lower down the league, weed it out, get everyone on the same page, everyone matured at the same time, then one player out, Van Dijk and Alisson in, and then they went and they were ready. That's what we've got to do, whereas the only thing Arteta's there for at the moment is to help those players develop how it is and probably take a lot of flack for when we're playing terrible. What manager's going to come in and take that abuse? None of the big managers, because they'll look at it as, my win percentage is going down. I want this player. I want that player. Because like I say, most of football, you don't get any time. Watford, you get 3 games and you're gone half the time. I think they might be getting rid of Ranieri to get Steve Bruce in as we speak, more than likely. But yeah, who's going to come in And basically, we've got to get someone to come in and just do exactly what Arteta's doing, but hopefully with a little bit more of a plan and tactics and better football.
Kris, so you've got a well thought out answer about this, because no doubt you've been going over this in your head the entire time for the last 24 hours.
Well, I mean, do you know? Actually, weirdly, I haven't. I mean, I agree with Nick, and I slightly disagree at the same time. I agree with him when he says, and I agree with you as well when we say, like, do we really want to go through, Emery too? Do we really want to go through the whole process of process? God, I fucking hate that word.
Just don't trust it.
No, I really just don't trust it. Blow it up. But do we really want to go through that period in the club again, where there's more upheaval? Now, I would argue that if you sell the I was going to say project, then can we stop with the P words? Jesus. if you sell the idea of what Arsenal are trying to be, right? Let's not forget, no matter what any other club says, we are the biggest club in London. It's fact, right? I don't care about Chelsea's, paid for Champions Leagues, and Spurs are just irrelevant. But we are the biggest club in London. It's just fact. It's historic, and it's in the ground, right? We're still a massive draw. We're in a very fashionable part of London, a very wealthy part of London. We've got a beautiful. Okay, I take that back. We haven't got a beautiful stadium. We've got a stadium that's falling apart. But we once had a beautiful stadium that could do the lick of paint, outside as well as inside Arsenal, if you're watching. But there's a lot of plus sides to Arsenal, and I genuinely think if you get the right manager who's hungry, and you sell the experience to him, and you say, look, you could make a legacy here. You've got all these young players. Sure, we'll give you 30, 40 million a summer so you can bolster it with a couple of your own players. No problem at all. But this is the nucleus now. That, and you sell it like it is, and you just say that this is what you've got to work with. We're going to be realistic with you and tell you this is what you've got. There are, I'm sure, plenty of managers who would jump at the opportunity for that job. And yes, some of them might not be what you would call the extravagant names. Some of them might not be the ones that people would pull out and say, oh, yeah, perfect. You mentioned Graham Potter. Personally, I think it's a step too high. I've said that from day one. I'd like to see him go from a Brighton to a sort of a slightly higher up the table club. And I appreciate we're mid-table as well. But you get my drift. I think sometimes a level club up would be good to see what he does there first. Otherwise, you've got Roberto Martinez Mark II on your hands. But there are managers out there that you could attract, and there are, more importantly than anything else, there's more experienced managers than Mikel Arteta out there. That's the big thing for me. And I have to say this every time I'm on this podcast or any other podcast. I keep saying it, and I will continue to say it. I'm not Arteta out because I'm not 3 years old, and B, I'm not against any player or manager that represents the club. I want to see him succeed. I want to see it work out. I loved him as a player. I genuinely did, and I like him as a bloke. And don't get me wrong, he comes out with some utter twaddle in press conferences at times, but you can tell he cares. I do think he genuinely loves the club. I do think he genuinely wants to succeed. I mean, of course he does. It's his profession. But I can't help but think that there are managers out there with more experience, more CV, better suited, that can come in and do a job. And every time people say to me, oh, yeah, but it takes time. It didn't take Thomas Tuchel very long, did it, at Chelsea? It didn't take him very long at all. It didn't. He
would have come to Arsenal, wouldn't he?
I think he would have. Yeah, genuinely think he would have. And
we were linked to him before he went to Dortmund.
And how long did it take Klopp to turn Liverpool into? And
I'm linked to him as well.
And still to this day, I think Klopp is slightly overhyped, to be honest. But you can't knock his record. You can't knock what he's done with Liverpool, because they were Arsenal now, weren't they? They were bang average before he came in.
No,
and he turned that. Well, okay, fair enough. But you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure I know this answer, but if 2 years ago, because we're coming up on 2 years of Arteta, and someone said to you, oh, Arsenal are appointing a young manager, who used to captain the side, and we're going for a younger manager rather than... So we're all gone, oh, it's Vieira. Would we not have all thought that? Because it's not just the experience a manager gets, on the match day, tactics, substitutions and that. That's all the stuff he has to deal with off the pitch. I mean, you think what he's had to deal with, experience-wise, stuff that's happened. Obviously the pandemic has been horrible for everyone, which is, but, he's had to deal with Ozil, Guendouzi, so many players putting on their parts. What was it you said, Danny? The Bundesliga bastards? All that sort of stuff he's had to deal with. And I'm sure after 2 years of, being a manager, he's got enough experience with that if he was to do it again, he would, at another club or, if he that now came to us and right, oh, this is what happened. Well, I did that and that didn't really work, but I've got the experience of knowing why that didn't work, so I'll do it this way. That's all that kind of experience as a manager, because it's not just, the playing, that's everything around it as well. I mean, like I said, you wanted to talk about him, didn't you, Chris? Guendouzi. I mean, I think he's a terrific player. Bit of a twat. He would probably agree that he's a bit of a twat, to be honest. But I don't agree with how he's been treated because he had a argument with someone on the pitch where, rightfully so, he should be going at that guy. He injured our goalkeeper, like I said, deliberately, and he's said whatever he said to him. I was like, so what? You think years ago, like you said, Vieira and Adams, do you think they'd have been nice about it if someone would have done that to one of our players?
No, I think the suggestion is the reason he was actually farmed out of the club was that the incident in Dubai, wasn't there? There was a follow-up where he essentially refused to apologise for his actions that day. Personally, I think the only reason, and this is just my opinion.
Talk about the last game he had as well. Cover that, because
he was brilliant. He was brilliant for Marseille. He scored 2 goals. I mean, that's not what he's in the side to do.
And an assist.
And an assist.
And 10 out of 10.
He's captained the club. He's captained Marseille this season. He's now a full French international. Well, he was already an international, but he's been called up to the senior squad twice now. First time to cover Pogba's injury, the second time completely on merit. This myth that he unsettles dressing rooms, and it is a myth. I'm just going to say this is the English media lack of brain cells is all I can tell you, because the English media, what they do is they find a story and they go, right, well, he did that in the almighty Premier League, so he must be a twat. No, do your fucking research. Does he have, as Nicky said, does he have a spiky, sometimes twattish personality? Absolutely. All right. Is he a bit of a shit? Absolutely. But is he a player with huge upside, huge potential, and a player that needs managing correctly? Absolutely. And isn't it funny that when you put your arm around a player and you have a little word with him and you put faith in him and you give him his legs, you give him his wings, and you say to him, if you perform, you'll be in this team. That's all Sampaoli has done at Marseille with Guendouzi. That's all he's done. He's just said, look, I believe in you. You're a young talent. You've got bags of energy. Your passing range is coming on. Your all-round game is coming on. I trust you. I've got faith in you. Go and run that midfield. And that's exactly what he's doing. And has he had an argument on the pitch with a player? Yeah, absolutely. Why has he had an argument on the pitch with a player? Because the guy wants to win. What's wrong with that? How many arguments did you see? How many times, and I'm not comparing the players on ability level because that's fucking mental. How many times did you see Thierry Henry do the French shrug? The Gallic, what the fuck? How many times would you see him chew out other players on the pitch because he didn't get the pass? He was a very, dare I say it, he was a very Frenchman, wasn't he? It was all expression and gestures and geeing up of other players. Vieira was another one. He'd be in the ear of players all the time.
Chris, can you remember at the full time at Newcastle when Henry completely lost it and went at everyone and the referees? Can you just imagine Arsene Wenger coming in? I think that was like 2002 or
something. It was
like
a home game against Newcastle, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he went for the referee, didn't he?
Yeah, he went for the refs, and then our players tried. He just wouldn't stop. Can you imagine Arsene Wenger saying to him, "Now, Thierry, you say sorry, or I'm going to loan you out, and I'm going to kick you out of the side."
Exactly.
I don't know if he's trying to just pick on a young lad to try and say, "Oh, well, I'm the manager now."
But it's not that, mate. It's not that. What it is, and I again, this is my opinion. I stand by it. He doesn't like young players with personality. He doesn't like it.
I mean, I've said this before. Yes, football, but this is their profession. This is their job, right?
Mm.
Irrelevant of who's a manager, whatever. If I'm at work and I know I'm right, I ain't apologising if I don't think I should apologise. I don't care.
Agree.
The most we can say is, well, I tell you, and this is like say experience with Arteta. I say, right, mate, I don't think you should have done what you do. Well, I think that's right. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll agree to disagree. But come on, let's get down to some work. Let's in the next training session, let's put it all behind us and let's just get down and concentrate on football. Done.
Exactly.
You shouldn't then step it up and then, throw your weight around and then have him, dropped out of the squad completely. Because which is another thing. I think if he had something like that happen again, I don't think he reacts the same way.
Look at this as a question. Now ask yourself this question, right? Xhaka gets injured. Okay. If I said to you yeah, exactly. So Saka gets injured last night. Could you tell me, hand on heart, that Guendouzi would not, on current form, not get into our midfield right now? He would, wouldn't he? He just would, And he's a player who, at the very least, we've sent him to Marseille with a £9 million buyout clause.
I bet they're doing cartwheels over that.
Obligation to buy, at the very least, send him on loan and say, the fee to be arranged upon. You've got a mandatory price tag to buy. The mandatory price tag is 30 mil. You just
know he's going to go to like Chelsea or something in 3 years' time for about 80 million, and you just know it's coming.
He might not. This is the thing. It's not me saying, oh, he's the world's greatest midfielder, and all. I'm not saying
he shows that he can do it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you put faith in a player and you say to him, look,
like he does with Xhaka.
Well, exactly. This is a guy who, let's not forget, again, threw the captain's armband down, besmirched the club, slagged off the fans, and then he got rewarded for that with a new contract and the fucking captain's armband back again. What does that say? And
I'll tell you what, Guendouzi, the 2 years he was here, he was so consistent. Not saying he was world class, but he was good pretty much every game. Under Emery, and then the first few months of Arteta, he was good. And to come straight into the side like that, I haven't seen that happen since Jack and Fabregas. Not say he was on their level, but for being as a young 18-year-old, like you look at Saka and Smith Rowe. I have a few really good games, a few average games, bit of a stinker, maybe get dropped for a couple of games, and they come back in. Whereas him, he just played well enough for 18 months, 2 years. You think, well, he hasn't done anything to be dropped. He's done well.
I'm going to upset a few people here, but I don't give a shit. There is very little difference in quality between Guendouzi and Smith Rowe. There isn't. I'm sorry. The only difference is one's from North London. He wears a number 10 shirt and everyone loves him. And the other one's got, mental hair and is a bit of a bell end. And every time you ask people, and again, I know they're not the same type of player, but I'm talking laying all the stats out and everybody likes their stats. There isn't a huge amount of difference in talent between the two players. And whenever anyone goes on Twitter at me and, oh yeah, you're just talking about it because they're French. well, yeah, because I watch a lot of French football, you bellends. So I'm obviously going to have seen him more than a player who's on loan in fucking Japan. Just facts. Sorry, guys. But that aside, if you look at the arguments that people put to you, and this is the same argument, I read it every time Get French Football News, bless them, tweet about Guendouzi, and they love to wind up the Arsenal fan base. Just go to the comment section, drop it down and have a look at it, and it's the same shit from the same brain-dead Arsenal fans. Yeah, but he's a twat. Yeah, but he's a bad influence on the dressing room. Yeah, but he can't behave. Yeah, but he's not... Sorry, when were you guys in the dressing room exactly, guys? When did you hear these quotes? Go on the internet, okay? Type in Matteo Guendouzi quotes. The only manager you will ever hear talk negatively about him and his attitude was when he was at Lorient and he had a falling out with the then manager. It must have escapes my memory. I'll have to look this up. But it was the former coach He had a big ding dong with him, and they had a falling out. And I think the quote is something along the lines of, Matteo is extremely talented, but he sometimes has a questionable temperament on the pitch. Something along those lines. This idea that he's a constant just cancer in the dressing room is such a load of rubbish, and I would argue that someone like Aubameyang's personality could be just as bad in the dressing room, because when he doesn't try. Say again?
Mikel Landreau.
Mikel Landreau, that's right. Yeah, the former goalkeeper. You're right, absolutely right. So
I'm not right. Wiki's right.
Well, that's
Chris,
rare,
what do you say? Because Partey has to be in midfield, right? Because of he's a bit different to everything else we've got, and we paid a lot of money for him.
He's
obviously,
marquee, yeah.
if he was here, if he had to pick not Xhaka because he's injured, and Guendouzi was here, who would he pick to play with if he had to play as two in midfield? Be Guendouzi, wouldn't it?
I mean, we're not in Thomas Partey's head clearly, but yeah, I think so.
I think you would.
There's more of a balance because Xhaka's got the turning circle of the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean, hasn't he?
Plus, now we're getting to the stage where we're now paid £30-something million for Odegaard, and now we're trying to bring him back and play him in midfield with Partey. I'm like, well, that's not why we signed him, and that's not where
he's number 10.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, why is Arteta trying to force, Smith Rowe and Odegaard into the same side? I mean, to be honest, for what he actually did yesterday, and I'm not knocking him, he's, it is hard sometimes adjusting to the pace and whatever of the Premiership, but for what good he was yesterday, you'd be better off putting El Nene in with him that game.
Yeah, no,
because I tell you what, Partey wouldn't have got overrun and just ganged up on as much and led to the goal with him as he did with Odegaard. Because remember, what was at the United game last year when he played with him? Yeah, those two were absolutely awesome.
They dominated it. There was a stat. Did you see the stat that went round that about? I'm sure it was all three of them. Certainly two of the three, but I think it was all three of them. That between them, Saka, Smith Rowe, and Odegaard made 0 tackles in the game yesterday.
Was that complete your tackles?
No, just a tackle. Tackles full stop. That's astounding. That's basically 3/4 of your midfield not making tackles. And as Nicky said there, this is not. People mistake being critical of a player as you're slagging them off. Again, anyone that thinks like that, do yourselves a favor. I'm getting salty now, but get an education, okay? Read a few books.
Go on, Chris.
All right, learn something. Learn about life. You can be critical of something without being abusive. You can criticize somebody or something without saying it's terrible or it's wrong. But you can be critical of people, and you can say that Saka has not been informed this season because he hasn't. You can say that Smith Rowe is still finding his legs because he is. And if those two players are not performing, take them out of the team and try something different. Heaven forbid, give Pepe license to play the position he wants to play and actually play with a fluid front three. Put Aubameyang one side, Pepe the other, and Lacazette through the middle and say, you guys are a fluid front three. All you've got to do is rotate between the three of you. If Laka pulls out wide, Aubameyang comes in centrally. If Pepe wants to
they do at the back.
Yeah, exactly. Make it fluid. You don't always have to, just because you've given Smith Rowe the number 10, doesn't mean you have to always have him in the team. Just because Saka is, and rightly so, our golden boy, and nobody can condone the abuse he got in the summer. We're not a competition winner. We don't just play players because of their reputation or because they're local. And the thing is, Bukayo Saka is not going to kick up a stink because he's out of the side for a few weeks. He's just not. It's only natural for young players to go through peaks and troughs. Well, you can't just keep on playing them hoping they'll get better because it's not going to work.
Minutes this season, Chris. Tierney, 684. Smith Rowe, 657. Saka, 643. And everyone else is below 600.
Well, there you go. And like I said, again, I'll repeat it again for those people in the back who are hard of hearing. You can criticize people without being abusive. It doesn't mean that you hate them. It doesn't mean that they're shit which I love that argument, by the way. Well, he's shit. Well, okay, sorry, expand on that. What makes somebody shit? It's just such a lazy, well, shit. What do you mean by that? What does that even mean? Like, so there is nothing wrong with just saying a player has got room to develop. A player's got maybe needs to be taken out of the firing line a bit, and that includes the captain, by the way, who, to be fair to him, he's put in a shift the last couple of games. He's looked a lot fitter, and I think he's coming back to somewhere near his best. But there's no harm in dropping Aubameyang for a game if he's not performing. Just like there was no harm in dropping Leno.
Kris is saying we criticise because we care.
Yeah, and I'm also saying
6 goals in 8 games.
Set fire to the stadium and start again. That's what I'm also saying, of course.
But people are quite touchy. I tweeted yesterday, if only Opta had stats for Morris dancing and trying to kill opponents from a corner, then Pepe would be the best player, or something along those lines. Why can't he take a corner, Kris? What the fuck has he got? How can a bloke get 2 pinpoint free kicks in one game and score, and then unable to beat the first man at the corner? These are the things that drive people up the fucking wall.
Yeah, and I'm not here to defend Pepe's corners. I'll defend his output, and if people want to get on the old stats train, there's plenty going out there about his output and his production levels. The corner thing, to me, any professional footballer that hits the first man from a corner should just
repeatedly. Or maybe he's just trying to damage them, so they have to go off. Maybe it's that tactic.
Well, the one thing I would say is anyone can do 1 in a game, 2 in a game. I mean, John McGinn is one of the most gifted footballers in the Premier League right now and underrated from dead ball situations. I've seen him take some hideous corners for Villa this season, and I'm sure now I've said that, he'll whip in a beauty on Friday for the inevitable Ollie Watkins winner. Yeah, but, David Beckham took some terrible corners in his time. It happens to even the best. But what I probably would say is, if Pepe is put on corner duties and hits the first man 3 out of 4 times, again, would it really kill the manager to go, do you know what, let's switch corner takers? Come to that, would it really kill the players to go, I know what the manager said, but can we just switch corner takers? Like, take some
should be taking some.
Yeah, exactly.
The worst corner taker I've seen. I once saw some bloke kick the corner flag and fall over and completely miss the ball. That's the worst corner I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's happened to a few people at my level, I can tell you. But yeah, it's, mistakes happen, but you can't, don't keep on flogging the same dead horse if it's, I don't even think Pepe's corners are particularly good. They weren't brilliant at Lille either. Like, that's not, I'd rather have him on the edge of the box for things that fall to him. That's the sort of position I'd want him in. But yeah, like you, I'd put Odegaard on them because I think he's probably the best deliverer of a set piece we've got.
Come on, Kris, fix Pepe for us. Tell Arteta what he's got to
do. Resign. Simple
okay, that, he's not resigning. What about the second option? Advice, not quit.
just let him express himself and give him. I mean, turn back, build a time machine, turn back time, and don't sign Willian, because let's not forget that destroyed his confidence last season. Because 1 minute he was being sort of dubbed that he to have the team built around him. Next minute he's behind a guy who's clearly at the wrong end of his career. No disrespect to William, but he didn't exactly tear it out, did he? So no, I mean, the problem with Pepe, I think, is that the Pepe we signed,
those sideburns. Fucking hell.
I mean, they're
unique. Do not live in Norwich, Pepe. You get rid of them farmer child sideburns.
If you sign a player who's basically the star player of a club, you don't then sign him and try and change him into something else. For me, you don't. If you, particularly a creative player, you sign him because of what he's doing at his current club, and you say to him, I want you to do what you're doing for them, for us. What you don't do is, and let's not forget, Leon
what is
played.
That? If people aren't sure, because I've seen people tweet, he played as a striker for Lille. What did he do at Lille, and what is he doing at Arsenal in one sentence?
He played as, I mean, we've just touched on it there. He played as a wide player in a fluid 4-3-3 formation. So he had him and Jonathan Bumber on the other side. And then you had a central striker. Sometimes it'd be Jonathan Ikone, who's also a converted winger. And when Pepe was there, you had Victor Osimhen, who's also prolific for Napoli all of a sudden, and he's a player that will go for big money at some point. Another one we could have had, but that's by the by. He is
left back
under Christophe Galtier, who, just while we're here, one of the most underrated coaches in world football that we could also have got. But anyway, he was a player who was given license to go out and express himself. He could play right wing or left wing, and I will tell you straight up, he was as frustrating at Lille as he was at Arsenal. Sometimes he would lose the ball repeatedly. He would trip over his own feet repeatedly. He would give up possession repeatedly.
Before
what
that
he would also do,
but what he would also do win
a game repeatedly, because what he would provide that moment of magic that would win a game repeatedly. He would make a run that would open the space for one of the other attackers. In the fluid three to come in and get a winning goal. At Arsenal, it just feels like it's almost like he's got almost like a box that he's not allowed to step out of. You know, people forget he made both goals Monday night.
True.
You know,
I mean, he done a lovely flicker. Do you think he's got? I mean, we were talking about Tomiyasu, and he's more of a defender come right back than an actual right, modern day right back running forward. Do you think we should just say to Pepe, right, mate, you got 10 games to save your career. You're on the right. Just do whatever the hell you want. Tommy, don't go bombing forward. Just sit 10 yards deeper and say to Pepe, you haven't got to get back into formation every time. You haven't got to worried about being, 30, 40 yards back, helping out the defence straight away, because that might be waiting on his mind. He's thinking, if I lose this here, I've got to sprint 40, 50 yards back. If not, Mikel's going to drop me. Do you think he should just be given just almost free rein for a few games?
I don't know about free rein, because I think you only give free rein to the very elite footballers like Kevin De Bruyne's and your Messi's and your Neymars, where you just say, just go and do what you want to do. I don't think
he's our most expensive player, Chris. So
yeah,
how is he not a most elite if he's our most expensive player?
But let's not forget that wasn't his choice, and that was also he was our most expensive player because a very large chunk of that 72 million went into a certain slightly overweight gentleman who now is no longer with the club, allegedly. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's all on him. I do get your point.
Yeah, I say complete. I mean, just let him off.
Let him be him. Yeah. That's the key. It's take the stabilizers off, take the training wheels away. Take that leash off him and just say, right, yeah, you have the opportunity. Because when he did that, he gave his best football, didn't he, last season?
I'm saying if they just say do that for 10 games, he could just prove it one way or the other. And because, like I said, in the summer, he's either doing a new contract or we've got to sell him.
Yeah,
and we're not even going to get half of what we paid for him at the moment.
Somebody tweeted the other day, and I liked it. I might try and find the tweet actually if I can. But somebody tweeted the other day, and I nodded along, and I don't even know if they were an Arsenal fan, but they basically said, at this point, I can't wait for Arsenal to sell Nicolas Pepe just so the lad can enjoy his football again. And I was like, yep, I 100% agree with that.
And how much would we get for him, do you reckon? If he went in the end of the season?
20-25 max.
Is this if he's going back to France?
Oh no, he wouldn't get that.
Oh no, no. He doesn't go back to France. He goes somewhere like Serie A or the Bundesliga, and I think he does particularly well. And that's it's just one of those things, isn't it? Like some players work under some managers, some players don't. Some fit, some don't. But you've got to give them the opportunity to thrive, haven't you? You've got to give them the tools that, again, don't sign a player if you're not willing to give them the opportunities that they earn the move by doing. Why would you wouldn't look at buying a new car and then drive it around the field?
Say, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Before. I said that's like, why would you go and buy like a nice Porsche 911 or something and fit a tow bar on it and drag a caravan behind
exactly.
you? Exactly. That's not just an Arsenal thing. I mean, look, Pogba, a Man United ever going to play him how he plays for France and how he played for Juventus? No. Probably not. And he's walking away
in the summer on a free, isn't he?
I mean, Lacazette, not to go back to Lacazette, have we ever played him how he played before we spent 50 million on him?
Very rarely. I think we did briefly under Emery for a while.
And I just think with him, I think he's too nice, and he's not selfish enough to be a striker. And when he comes off the pitch, like I said, he's too professional as well. He gets subbed so many times when he's not done anything wrong. And
Most Premier League teams, he'd be their starting striker for the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, the start of last season, he scored, 3 goals in 4 games, and for some reason, Arteta dropped him for about a month and a half. And you think, well, what more could he do? He's either holding the ball up well and scoring, or he gets dropped. Maybe he needs to start throwing his gloves around or something. I don't know. Maybe he's just too nice.
He is a player who doesn't hold back in how he feels about things. I will say that about him. He's not one to be quiet, and he's a dressing room leader, which I think is probably, if you look at a lot of the young players, they all speak very highly of him because he is a player who takes the time to help young professionals and help other teammates, and he's a good trainer.
But maybe he should take the time to help himself.
Well, yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
That's what I mean. I'm not saying he wants to turn into Adebayor, but maybe just a little bit more.
The argument then is, for me, he can only help himself if he gets given the opportunity, and he can only sort of play if he's given the chance to play. If that makes sense, he can only do so much from the bench. He could not have done any more last night or Monday night to get his place in the side for Villa. He could not have done any more. And I think John was trolling me, but Lana put in our hipsters group, and she said, "Oh, Lacquer," and I replied and I said, "We don't deserve this lad." And John replied and said, "Oh yeah, the same Lacquer who ballooned our best chance into the stand." And I was just like, "John, I hope you're trolling, because the reason he did miss a good chance. He also was the only fucker who was trying his arse off to get us back into that game at 2-1 down. And without him, we don't get anything from that game. And without his striker's instincts to finish, and it's a good finish, by the way, we don't take anything from that game." So, yeah, I'm sure he was trolling me, but it's and we're not saying he's the answer long term. He's not. He just isn't. He's the wrong side of 30, as is Aubameyang. My concern is, would you trust Arteta to sign the next Ian Wright, the next Nicolas Anelka? I mean, I wouldn't. So, Danny's so disgusted he's just left. But
I think a cat's chewed through his wire.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think about Villa? Should we talk about that?
Oh, he's back.
Fucking cat.
Told you.
You called it. What do we think about Villa? I mean, are we confident? Because I'm not. This to me has just got another depressing, 2-1 loss at home to an average club once again written all over it. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But and as Danny rightly said, I'm going to this game and I'm dreading it. So what does that tell you?
It could be worse. You could have people taking a picture of the back of your head and posting it on Twitter. Yeah,
that was quite odd. Although I love the fact Carl's got a fan base. I mean, that's fantastic.
And they didn't even say hello to him.
No, I know. He's take a picture of him and not even say hello to him. How bizarre is that?
You imagine seeing someone and sort of off that and not saying hello. I mean, if I saw any of you guys, I'd just run over and give you a great big bear hug.
Yeah, which I'm all for, unless you are weird. Because if you do that and you see me on Tuesday, don't do that. Oh, Tuesday, Friday, whatever day of the week it is.
We've been going an hour and a half, so we need to move along. We've got another 10 minutes. Kris, if you can succinctly say, where do we go? Where do you think the club are going to go from here with Arteta? Are you like me and think nothing's going to change? I don't want anything to change because I don't like
you don't want anything to change. Good God. Well, you're in for a happy time then. Look, I'll just echo what I said earlier on. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm proved horribly wrong. And I hope in the next 5 to 10 games, he shows everybody that these were just 2 average performances. Because I do put Brighton in with this as well. I hope I'm wrong, but I think the performances against Spurs are in the minority, and I think the performances like we got on Monday are in the majority. And I personally think that if the results don't improve by Christmas, then I'm heavily on the side of change, because I don't see where we're going, and I don't see where we're going to get to wherever we're supposed to be going under this particular manager.
But will they change it?
No, because they're gutless, spineless, and have no. If they change it, they've admitted they failed, aren't they? Edu's not going to do that. The only person that's going to change this is the person who owns the club, who probably doesn't even know what the club is. So no, I don't think it changed. I think the only way it changes is if we get to the end of the season and we're still out of Europe. If we're still out of Europe again, because the money's going to, people are going to stop going, the sales are going to reduce. and we aren't going to be able to sign players if we stay out of Europe for too long. That's the only way. And he's not going to resign because why would he? He's a manager who's looking to build his career.
We're not going to attract better sponsorship deals than we've got now if we're not in Europe as well, in long term as well.
And how many people have been to Rwanda? No one.
Exactly. And this is why we need to take, in all seriousness, this is why we need to take that Leeds game quite seriously, because that's a trophy we could potentially win. And this is how far we've fallen. That's probably our best route back into Europe is the League Cup. Because we're not winning the FA Cup with the likes of Man City. Unless all the big teams knock each other out and we get a lucky draw all the way through, we're not winning that FA Cup this year. I don't think, personally.
Well, we could. I mean, I remember when we got, I won't say extremely lucky, and we got Birmingham in the final of the League Cup.
Well, yeah. I still have nightmares of Obafemi Martins tearing Szczesny and Koscielny a new one in that particular moment. But yeah, I mean, you need a bit of luck, of course, but I would look at that League Cup and think, do you know what? We could have that in the cabinet by February and know that whatever happens, we're in Europe next season. That takes a lot of pressure off. I'm not saying we will. In fact, I don't think we will win it. Man City is still in it, aren't they? So probably not. But I think we should prioritise it to a degree for right now, anyway.
Nick, if you can answer that in less than the hour it took Chris.
Sorry.
What was the question again?
Is anything going to change?
No, because I don't think it matters who's in charge.
Do you want it to change then?
Well, unless we get bought out like Newcastle, I don't see how it can change. We've decided what we're doing. We're going Project Youth 8.0 or whatever number we're on now. And we just got to see how these lads get on over the next few years. And I said at the start of the season, we're going to have some ups and downs throughout the most of the season. As long as the last 10 or 15 games, we're on a good run and we look good and we look like we know what we're doing, that's good. But if we have another season of just being crap and we finish even lower than 8th and we don't look like we want people to say, at the start of next season, cool, Arsenal had a really good run at the end of the season. Oh, they signed this or that player. They could be challenging for top 4 here. They look like they've got a plan. If we're not like that, then he'll probably have to go.
Right, let's do some questions. We've got some silly questions and some half decent ones.
Surely not.
Hold on, is that this? I didn't even read this question. I just automatically thought it'd be good. Nick from Matt L. Roberts, who is at Matt LR28 on the Twittings. How would you cope knowing that the women are on a break and have no game until Halloween? Arsenal men do not seem to be the answer. Do you watch the Arsenal women?
No, is that? I haven't really, to be honest, I haven't really watched them. I don't think I think I watch them sometimes when they get to the cup final, because we used to get a lot of the women's cup finals, didn't we? But I haven't really watched it. I think that is on a bit TV a bit more, but other than Arsenal, I don't really watch much TV. The other games.
Yes. Well, the last time I watched Arsenal women, they got spanked by Barcelona. So that was the last game I watched, and I don't really watch much of it, although they are doing very, very, very well as long as they avoid the big teams in Europe. Chris from Matt Royal Roberts again. What one word, you can answer this as well, Nick, what one word would you use for Mikel's, in quotes, style? For me, it would be horrible. A hornbill. Hornbill. Said it a long time ago. Uninspiring. I don't know. I think he might mean... Hold on, I'm going to...
Is there a question?
It does look like hornbill. I'm going to get it and I'm going to cut and paste it into our chat. Now, does that say hornbill or does that say horrible? Here we go.
Hornbill.
Right. What the fuck does hornbill mean?
I think he meant horrible. Maybe it was one of those that just...
There again, hornbill. Not a bad description of Arteta's football.
What would be the word I would use? I'm trying to be nice here.
Don't be nice. That's not why people are listening.
Well, uninspiring is a good word. The first word that came to mind was passive. And I would like to throw in micromanaged, because I will keep banging that drum for as long as I've got breath in my lungs. Those players are micromanaged within every inch of their life.
Nick?
Well, I think all managers really, how they are. It comes into two. You've got proactive and reactive, and I think he's in the reactive where he goes into the game thinking, well, I'll set up like this and I'll see how we go. Where the top managers and the winners are always proactive of saying, we're going to go out and we're going to do this, and I don't give a damn what the other team are going to do because you ain't going to stop me.
That's a little bit too highbrow for this podcast, Nick. I'm going to go with nearly. That's the way I'd describe it. I mean, nearly. And I still think we will. So, next question from James Rail Stokes, who is at James Rail Stokes on the Twitterings. This is for Nick. Do you think Arteta is stifling our creativity with rigid structure play? I think if you can answer that in any more than one word, you're wasting your time.
Yes. I mean, me and Chris said that earlier with Pepe and a few other players. He's got to let them off the leash a bit. Chris?
Yes.
Very good.
That's
right.
It.
Question from Tim Hardwick at Barcelona. For start with you, Nick. Were we good or were Spurs shit? One word. Actually, yeah, good or as many words as you want.
Can we have both? We were good for about half an hour, and they were bad for most of it.
Do you agree, Chris?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, to be fair.
Okay, Chris, and for Chris from the legend that is Edward Longbridge at Eddie Longbridge. He says, if all the players, other coaches, and what seems to be general footballing community are saying how amazing Arteta is and how they've never seen such incredible ideas, etc., then why is it just not working?
Because all managers who beat him, of course they're going to say that because they want him to stick around. Simple as that. If I hear
Pep Guardiola effect.
Yeah, if I hear Pep Guardiola praise Mikel Arteta one more time, I'm going to fly up to Manchester and slap his bald head. It's so utterly... No manager's going to come out. Imagine this. Manager comes out after game. Congratulations, Manager X of Manchester United. You've beaten Arsenal today. What's your thoughts on Mikel Arteta? Well, he's dog shit, isn't he? They're not going to say that, are they? They're just not, are they? So, there's obviously it's a code in football. They're going to respect each other. Look, I've said before, and again, I'll say it again. I think he's a very good coach, and I think he will become a very good coach. And I think there's a lot of really good qualities about him. Unfortunately, his failings or his poor parts of his management are so glaringly obvious to me and to many others. And I think finally people are starting to take the rose-tinted spectacles off, looking past the fact he was a legendary player and just questioning some of those decisions. And again, you have every right to question people. Well, a player who gave us good service. Yeah. You can question methods without saying he's shit. So I don't think any manager's ever going to slag off another manager, and they will love to have him in place if it means they beat us.
All right, question for Nick from some bloke called Carl at @London_guy. Carl doesn't even have 1,000 followers yet.
What?
You fuckers need to sort that out. When people say I want more followers, I say you don't want more followers. There's just more people that are going to tell you you're wrong. And unless you're Chris, you're not interested in that. Carl says to Nick, why do we have such a problem with our home form? Arsenal have failed to win 15 of the last 23 home Premier League games under Arteta. Surely the bare minimum is winning all your home games.
He's not wrong. Your home form is used. Well, he's never wrong, Carl. He's a clever bloke. Man, when he's at the Football Friday, can everyone go up to him and tell him how right he is? That's what you want to do.
It's a hell of a stat, by the way. Was it 15 out of 23? That's bloody nuts.
So that means he's won 8 out of 23, I think.
There's your stats for those keeping tabs.
Right.
Maybe it's just the pressure of playing at home and expectations of the fans. And
Wenger went through a patch of that as well, didn't he? He didn't win.
There's a simple solution to that. If the job's too big for you, don't manage that club. Simple.
Right.
Harsh but true.
A follow-up question from Carl says, now that I'm getting noticed when I go out, will Danny provide extra security for me? Well, we got our 6 monthly payment from, I was saying I couldn't get it because of tax reasons. They just took 25% and gave us 69 quid. So that's amazing. 6 months of YouTube, 69 quid. That pays for 2/3 of the SoundCloud thing.
Well, what do you know?
So we're still on course to be self-sufficient. Yes, Carl, full security. And if you do see Carl at the game, don't take a picture of him and then tweet it like that bloke did, which is nice. Go and say hello to Carl. Go and say to him, Carl, you're my favourite on there, because we all know he isn't. A question for you from someone called John Welsh, Kris, at JWelsh84. Is Pepe the good winger, stifled by the manager, or just a £72 million no-go in disguise?
I mean, do you even want me to dignify that with a response? I mean, we all know John's asked that because it's me. Look, I think we covered it earlier on. I'm not saying he hasn't got flaws. Of course he has. I'm not saying he doesn't have elements of him that's very frustrating. Of course he does. But he's mercurial. He brings that element of chaos which every club needs, and he's ridiculously talented. And if you play him in the right positions and you give him the right freedom, then you get the best out of him. Is he worth 72 million quid? No, absolutely not. But that's what we paid for him, and that's the way it is. So get the best out of the guy. Stop stifling him every bloody 5 minutes you put him on the pitch. So there you go. That's how I feel about it.
Nick, question from Pete Kennelly. Is club football, which he's put clubberful, which I'm thinking the clubberlang, which I'm sure he doesn't mean. I think he means, is club football boring, or when does international games recommence?
Oh, dear. I don't know.
Oh, no, I think what he's done, clubber lull, as in interlull.
Clubber lull, that's good, yeah.
Almost didn't work, Pete. So what's your answer, Nick? Fuck international football, let's take it.
Pretty much.
Good.
I mean, I only watch the finals anyway. I'll never watch any of the friendlies or qualifiers, because other than playing the game of seeing how many, Liverpool and Man United players are going to leave with injury and then play the next game for them, that's not really worth bothering with.
It isn't indeed. Right, now I've come to the part of the show which is gentleman's nods while you two are thinking of someone. I have got two. One is from me, is to Shravan, which is at SHRAVANATOR, Shravanator. I saw an Arsenal podcast that is called at VADA London, and it's an Arsenal Tamil podcast. And I retweeted that, and then Shravan messaged me and went, he either is Tamil or he speaks Tamil. So I've had a little wiki, and Tamil is the official language of the Indian state of Tamil Nadu and one of 22 languages under the Schedule 8 of the Constitution of India. So the gist of that is, if you speak Tamil and you want an Arsenal podcast done in Tamil, you need to go to the Twitters and find VADA London and go and tell them we said hello. They have a new show out today, I think. So, Nick, is there anybody you want to say hello to?
Not really. I didn't think about that. But I suppose...
Not really. Who stuck money down your pants, your Twitch massive.
Nah, not that. I suppose give a shout out to old Mike from the Goon as well, because he's still over here and he's going to the Villa game this week as well, isn't he? Because I think he's here all week. So, he'd love it if everyone could just go up to him, say hello and rub his bald head for
20 minutes.
I know, but apparently him and Elliot, the Yankee gunner, they didn't watch any of the game. They were too busy videoing themselves crying as they walked into the stadium for every game they've been to. So pathetic. Kris, anyone you want to say hello to? Any hornbills?
No. I was going to say nice to hear Pete Kennelly's name again. Pete in Australia. Good to hear he's keeping well. I think the only sort of shout out I would give... well, actually, okay, there is technically two. One is to the people who saved that person's life at Newcastle the other day, because fair fucking play to them, by the way. Not all heroes wear capes. And as much as I begrudge to admit it, fair play to the Spurs players for getting the necessary treatment when needed, because, that was a pretty horrific thing to happen, wasn't it? And I'm really glad the guy's making a recovery. But, yeah, fair play to the two. I think it was a gentleman and a lady who helped helped start CPR. So yeah, fair play to them. That's good. Other than that, it is just a shout out to
Dr. Tom Pritchard.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
He used to. There's a Tom Pritchard. He used to be in WWE. That's quite scary. Anyway, yeah. Shout out to Tom.
Randy Savage's brother.
No, that was the Genius.
Carry on.
Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, no, just a quick shout out to formerly of this parish, Mr. Jason Davies, who's very kindly, with the help of stop it, with the help of Mr. Jeff Arsenal,
Like he's going to listen.
Has managed to well, no, but it's to all the other people out there. But no, he has managed to get us a pair of tickets for the Villa game on Friday, as Danny mentioned. I shall be travelling up to London from rain-soaked Plymouth. At the moment, it is pissing with rain here, and then meeting the Welsh Wonder in Victoria, and then as you said earlier, Danny, we'll be going to meet Simon Collins of the journalism world. He's flying
Standard.
Yeah, standard. He interviewed Emile Smith Rowe today, the little cheeky monkey.
And he was on FK's podcast the other day. Remember FK? Splitter.
Who's it? I've never heard of that guy.
No.
Fuck him. Love you, FK. But yeah, just a shout out to those boys. I'm looking forward to seeing Jace again. I'm sure that'll change after about 10 minutes in his company. I'm joking, but yeah, it'd be good to see Jace again. I think we're meeting Carl and Femi and Neil and Simon, and I think, as you rightly said, Mike's still there. I don't know if Elliot is still. I don't know if Elliot's in London for the week or not. I'm not sure.
Deported.
But I'm pretty sure we'll bump into many fun faces. So as Danny said, if you do happen to spot us, please don't give me abuse, because I'm very fragile and I get upset. No, I don't.
But people can come and say hello to you, can't they?
Yeah, of course they can.
You can run away really fast with your flashy shoes.
I'll just hide. Yeah, and just be careful.
How much is it to run their fingers through your gorgeous locks?
Well, I was just going to say, just be careful, because from the back, I probably do look like a woman. So just be very careful where you put your hands in case it's not me. Exactly, she was nice. So yeah, but no, in all seriousness, anybody who does happen to have the misfortune to run into me and the wonderful Welshman, please do say hi. It is genuinely touching when people sort of listen to this podcast, and we do it for you guys, because it's therapy for us. It's entertainment for you guys, hopefully. But yeah,
expense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, I am looking forward to it. It will be nice to get back up there. It's been a while since I've been up to a game, due to obviously a pandemic and money. So no, it'd be nice to go up there. I just hope we put in a performance. I really do. I'd like nothing more than for us to turn up a 5-0 thrashing of Villa and look fantastic and everything be wonderful. But if not, me and Jace will go back to the old Premier Inn and cry ourselves to sleep. So win-win every day, isn't it, really?
Will you be having a doctor on standby for Jace when he goes mental volcanic when we go 3-0 down in the first 10 minutes? He has a stroke or something?
No, but I tell you what I will do.
You bastards!
Here's a promise to all of our loyal listeners. I will have my phone on me, and I will be taking some voice recordings of both me and Jace. So Danny can use that for the extras for next week. So if I can catch him in full flow when he doesn't notice, then I will get his permission to use it, of course. But assuming I can catch him in mid-scream, then we will have that for next week's pod. So look forward to that.
Right. Yes, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Nick, I think you've got to go to work now, haven't you, Nick?
No, I've got to be up at 4:30 in the morning.
That's it. Same thing. And Kris is still wearing... Are you wearing Moo Cow Adidas at the moment?
Yeah,
they look like Moo
fantastic.
Cows.
Do you want to look at them? They're brilliant. Look at these. These are fantastic. Look at these. Look
are they Moo Cow?
I think they're like zebra. But they got the old Adidas, and then they got the logo there. Yeah, they are proper. This is boutique at its very best. So yeah,
my sister's got a pair of them.
Fuck off. She's obviously got very good taste, Nick. Yeah,
right.
The less of my fashion, the better. But it's unique.
Nick, where can people find you on the wonderful world of Twitter and Twitch?
That's the same on both. That's Nick Fights on the Twitter or the Twitch. And next month, I'm going to be reliving the glory days. I'm going to be playing FIFA 2004 on stream, trying to recreate the Invincibles, which is not going to work. But I'm also going to do like a giveaway because there's a new Invincible Arsene Wenger DVD Blu-ray coming out next month. So I'm going to obviously get a copy of that and then play that and give that away to someone on the stream. I'm sure you'll turn up, Chris.
Those people that are doing that,
have a look at that.
It's called Arsene Wenger Invincible. Arsene Wenger's achievements are stunning. His legacy is unique. Never before has he told his story in his own words. It's made by the same people that made Finding Jack, Bobby Robson, More Than a Manager, The Edge, Steve McQueen, The Man and Le Mans. They sent us a link so we could have gone and watched it early, and I forgot to look. And so, yes, they are on Twitter. In fact, is this? I clicked on. Oh, there you go. I asked them what they wanted me to do, and included there was a link. So I'm going to go and give that a little retweet now. Go to our Twitter and go and find it at Wenger Film. Sorry if you people are watching this, but I said, "Oh, I'll do that tomorrow," and then I didn't look at our emails for a week because I don't look at the podcast stuff for a week. On anybody who's emailed us will know that. So it's
you pay peanuts, you get Danny.
That's it. Yeah, so go and have a look at those people. They were kind enough to contact us. Chris, where can people find you? Are you back to running yet?
Semi. There's still a little bit of discomfort, so I'm in rehab, but I'm getting there. But yeah, at KC _runs with a Z.
Is that Kieran Campbell, or is it you?
No, that's definitely me. I am the original KC. Yeah, at KC Runs on Twitter and the Instagram. Instagram is for all my pretty pictures. And dog pictures, and also not dogging pictures. I need to stress dog pictures, and lots of pretty sunsets. But yeah, if you want to read my bullshit about football and my obviously massively biased French football opinion, you can do so. And I do usually tweet along to most of the French games at the weekend. So if you want any live tweeting, if that's your kind of cup of tea, then drop me a line. And yeah, do check out Nick, because Twitch is always fun, and it's nice to give a bit of support to your local streamers, if you will. And everybody's local on the internet. So yeah, give them a follow. And then when you've done with that, come and follow my Instagram. And if you don't, I'll come for you.
And I'm quite often in Nick's streams.
Here's
a special intro for when I turn up. Mm-hmm. And then I go, I hate this game. Why are you playing? And then I go. But I've been watching Alan Wake. That wasn't too bad. Yeah. So I think that's it, everybody. Nearly 2 hours. Well, thank you very much for watching. We will be back sometime next week. I will spend Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday asking these useless shitbags, anybody free, and then it'll be nothing. It'll be tumbleweed. So expect me on my own next week. Actually, Stan the Man. I asked him to come on tonight, and then Chris said he was free. So Stan the Man will almost definitely be on next week from Canada Land. And other than that, I don't think there's any more podcast news you need to know about. So we will see you all again next week. Keep your glasses trendy and your beard topped up. That's a wrong show, isn't it? Is that coming back, Chris?
Not with that intro.
No, it's not, is it?
One day. We'll probably do a Christmas special or something.
Woohoo!
Maybe, if you're lucky.
There you go, people. Something to get out of bed for. We will see you all next week. And away. If you know, you know.